Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you Sidar Kondo Jimra and Ikra Sidiqi the Usurper. This is my one partner commander deck. Obviously abs and colors, black, green, white. So Sidar has flanking. Creatures opponent control without flying or reach cannot block creatures with power 2 or less. So that's pretty important in this deck. Ikra has Menace. Whenever a creature I control deals combat damage to player, I gain life equal to that creature's toughness. She's a 3/7. He's a 2/5. He costs 4 to cast, 2 colorless, green and white. She costs 3 colorless, black and green. Excuse me. Now, the deck has 2 main themes. The first theme is Lifegain, which Ikra feeds into, and the second one is Toughness over Power, which Sidar Kondo feeds into. So let's get started with the presentation. So first off, we have Doran Viper. 1 color is 2 green for a 1/3 creature. Whenever he deals combat damage to a creature, I destroy it at the end of the combat. Whether or not he is killed, the trigger still goes on the stack. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, I may draw a card. As you can see, with the next card, if it comes into play, he'll be hitting for 3. He'll essentially be a 3/3. Doran the Siege Tower. Okay, here we go. This is feeding into the Toughness Matters theme of the deck. Black, green, white. Each creature assigns combat damage equal to his toughness rather than his power. He's a 0/5, so he alone, he is functionally a 5/5 when he's on the battlefield. Sensei's Divining Top. 1, look at the top 3 cards from the library, put them back in any order, or tap, draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of my library. So trade it for whatever is on top of my library. This is very good with Bolas's Citadel, which is one of the key cards in the deck. Yes, this is not a good creature anymore, but I just like her. So 6 for colorless white for a 4/5 flyer, and when she deals combat damage, which she has lifelink, essentially, and morph. So I could play her face down as a 2/2 creature, then flip her over for 2 colorless and 2 white. Meekstone. Haha. Only 1 mana. Any creature's power greater than 2 may not be untapped during the untap step. So, as you'll see as I present the deck, most of my creatures are pretty weak when it comes to power. I mean, Sidar is a 2, Ikra is a 3, so Meekstone would affect her, but not him. And this kind of locks down my opponent's creatures. So it's supposed to be a oh, the word escapes me. Non-symmetrical. It's supposed to be a non-symmetrical effect in this deck. Skyshard Claim, 3 colorless, 1 green. Go find 2 forests and put them into play. They can be shock lands, they can be dual land, it doesn't matter. As long as they have the type forest, you can just put them into play, and they do not come into play tapped. Toxic Deluge, board wipe, 2 colors, 1 black, pay X life. All creatures get neg X, where X is the amount of life that is paid. Plains. Forest. I just really like this forest. It's just kind of weird, but realistic at the same time. Volrath Stronghold. As if you've seen my other videos, all of my black decks have Volrath Stronghold. Main purpose is to prevent somebody from exiling a key creature card from a graveyard. So they go to exile it with some effect. 1 black, 1 colorless, tap, put it on top of my library to save it. Debt to the Deathless. X, 2 white, 2 black. Each opponent loses 2 times X life, and I gain that much life. So this can be a game ender, or it can just save me from being killed in a turn. It is a sorcery, of course. This would be very interesting if it was an instant, though. Yeah, but it's not. Slagworm armor. So, in most decks, this is junk. 1 colorless, 3 to equip. Equipped creature gets +0/+6. I mean, it doesn't beef it up, but if Doran is in play, and I equip Doran, he is now hitting for 11. So this is pretty clutch in this deck. Rid of one of those beautiful forests. Guy is Bounty. 2 colorless and a green. Search my library for 2 forest cards and put them into my hand, and then shuffle. Just another way of getting more land into play. Rock's Faithmender, 3 colorless and a white for a 1/5 lifelinker. Yeah, 1/5 lifelinker. Who cares, right? But if I gain life, I gain twice that much life instead. And as you saw, if I have Doran, this guy is hitting for 5. So if I have Doran in play, or Huatli, you'll see her when she comes up, then he's hitting for 5, and I'm getting 10 life. So pretty good. And he's not subject to the Meek Stun. Celestial Sanctuary. Plains. Sanguine Bond. Whenever I gain life, target opponent loses that much life. So, this is a sneaky way of killing my opponent, so I should be gaining a lot of life in this deck. And then I can start having somebody lose as I gain. And as you saw with Rock's Faithmender, so if he attacks, Doran is in play, he hits for 5, I gain 10, somebody loses 10. So this can get out of hand very quickly. Mortifi, 1 colorless, black, white, destroy a creature or an enchantment. Just instant creature removal, essentially. Swamp. Windswept Heath. Worldly Tutor. 1 green for an instant. Search my library for a creature card. Shuffle my library, put the creature on top of my... After revealing it, put the creature on top of my library. So this is one of the cards you play at whoever is before you. At the end of their turn, typically you would Worldly Tutor to go find something interesting. Usually something that can save you because you're in trouble. Auric Champion, white, white, for a 1/1 with protection from black and red, and whenever a creature comes into play, I may gain 1 life. Orthodox Basilica. Bounce land gives me black and white. Forest. Unburial Rites. 5 and 1 black. Return target creature card from my graveyard to the battlefield. Flashback, 3 colors and a white. Do the same thing. This is one of those cards that really only gets played in EDH. I just like it. I don't know. It just, yeah, it just feels good. Palisade Giant, 4 and 2 white for a 2/7 creature. A giant soldier. All damage that would be dealt to me or another permanent I control is dealt to her instead. She can absorb a lot of damage and can really save a lot of things. Plus, being only a 2/7, she's not subject to the Meek Stone. So if she does attack, then she will untap with the Meek Stone in play. Soul Ring. Murmuring Bosk. I don't have a lot of Tree Folk in the deck, so this is normally going to come into play tapped. Typically, I'm going to find it off a fetch land, so it's going to come into play tapped anyway, because of course it. No, actually, Doesn't matter how it comes to play. So even if I use a fetch land, if I have Tree Folk, I can reveal it to have it come into play untapped. But with only 2 Tree Folk in the deck, it's unlikely I would be able to meet that condition. So it gives me 1 green, or it gives me a black or a white and deals 1 damage to me if I choose black or white. And here we go. Hoatle, the Sun's Heart. 2 colorless, 1 green or 1 white hybrid. Each creature I control assigns combat damage equal to toughness rather than its power. And neg 3, she starts at 7 loyalty. So neg 3, I gain life equal to the greatest toughness among creatures I control. Aura Shards. 1 colorless, green, white. Whenever a creature comes to play into your control, you can blow up a target and artifact or enchantment. So, usually this hits the table and everybody wants to kill it. Nobody likes it unless it's under their control. The Death Star. Etherlux Reservoir. 4. For an artifact, whenever I cast a spell, I may gain 1 life for each spell I've cast this turn. Pay 50 life, and it deals 50 damage to our creature or player. Now, in this deck, the idea is that if I have Bolas' Citadel, I can start casting spells off the top of my library and paying life. But if this is in play, each time I do that, I will start gaining life. So at some point, initially I will be probably losing more than I'm gaining, but at some point the lines will cross and I'll start gaining more than I'm losing by casting the spells. And that's why Sensei's Divining Top is in there, one of the reasons. So I can reshuffle the top 3 and keep it going, because of course if I hit a land with Bolas' Citadel in play, if I've already played a land this turn, I'm stuck. I stop right there. Knight of Obligation. 3 and a white for a 2/4 vigilance knight with extort. So really there's extort is a theme in the deck, but it's not a major theme. It's definitely tertiary. The main themes, of course, are the life gain and toughness matters. Swamp. Forest. Swamp. Pernicious Deed. 1 colorless black green for an enchantment. It just sits there. It's just sitting there. If you don't push me, it won't do anything. It'll just sit there. But if you push me, I'm going to spend X, sacrifice Pernicious Deed, and blow up everything, all artifacts, enchantments, and creatures with converted mana cost X or less. So it doesn't hit Planeswalkers. But, back then, they didn't have Planeswalkers. So, fair enough. Planes. Seedborn Muse. She's not really key in this deck. It's just, she fits the Toughness Matters theme. She's got a nice effect. Every time my opponents untap, I get to untap with them. 3 colorless, 2 green for 2/4. It's one of those, I hate the word staple. I hate the word staple card in Commander. Or phrase, rather. I hate that phrase because they hurt. Oh, bloody hell, excuse me. Each deck should play whatever is best for the deck, or whatever the person running the deck just enjoys. And I just, like her, had an extra copy. I didn't have anything better to put into this deck, so in she goes. Damnation. 2 colorless, black. All the creatures die, and they can't be regenerated. I've noticed they've really gone away from regeneration. Wizards really doesn't have that many things with the regeneration anymore. It's interesting. Missile Plains comes into play tapped. 1 white, put target card from my graveyard on the bottom of my library. Played only if I control 2 or more white permanents. So, this is another way of saving creatures more often than not that somebody wants to exile so it doesn't come back. Erebos, God of the Dead. 3 colors and a black for a 5/7 indestructible god. As long as my devotion to black is less than 5, though, he's not a creature. My opponents can't gain life. 1 colorless, 1 black, pay 2 life, draw a card. So his abilities are really good. I mean, anybody that has played with or against Erebos, no, this guy is just, he's a house. He's just fantastic and a lot of fun. But he also fits the theme of the deck because he's got that high toughness, that 7. So if I do meet the devotion, and he is in play, it definitely works. You know, it's Ikra out. If I have devotion, Erebos out. He attacks, I gain 7 life. Bang! Done. Eat it. Okay, with that, I'm going to hit pause because my camera only runs for about 18-17 minutes and then it shuts off. So I'm going to preempt that. Give me a moment and I'll finish the presentation.